This is Speaking of Pets podcast, where we offer you up-to-date, science-based, accurate information.
Oh, Gizmo! Good kitty. You're such a good kitty.
And they're looking up and howling in unison.
If it affects pets, we'll talk about it. The Speaking of Pets podcast is sponsored by Blue Buffalo Veterinary Diets. Love them like family, feed them like family. And go to chewy.com and enter promo code COMMAND15 to save 15% off on Vetramax Command Deep Cleansing Shampoo. That's code COMMAND15 at chewy.com for 15% off. Vetramax makes it better. Hey everyone, welcome to Speaking of Pets. I'm Dr. Alice Novotny-Jeroman, a board-certified veterinary allergist and dermatologist, and
I'm Janet Novotny-King. I'm the doctor's sister and co-host. I am not a board-certified allergist and dermatologist in the veterinary field. I'm a pet owner, lover, and pet rescuer, and I'm just so excited today coming off that Browns win.
Yeah, one of the best games ever.
In a blizzard, and those fellow Clevelanders took it hard, right?
Well, Janet, let me ask this. Were your cats watching it?
No, they were actually in the house hanging out. They were not watching it. The dog wasn't watching it either.
In the house.
But Alice, we also just finished Golden Fest in Fort Myers, Florida, which was an amazing experience. Talk about a place where there were thousands of pet lovers. It was our kindred
dogs.
spirits.
It was like we had died and gone to dog heaven, plus a lot of good shopping.
A lot of good shopping. There were some really cute booths. So we had a great time, and we love meeting everyone.
And the Lee County Animal Abuse Unit was there with their SWAT vehicle.
The dog.
Fire truck was there. The mechanical dog was there. They have 2 robotic dogs. Mm-hmm. So we enjoyed talking with them. But today, I think we have something really special. You know, Janet, a lot of times we feature dog rescue groups on the show. Yeah. How many cat rescues do you know of? I don't know of any. Well, I do. In Northeast Ohio, I am lucky enough to know Kathy Deptola with Kathy Deptola Animal Rescue, or we like to call it KDAR, because it sounds real like Space Shuttle, KDAR. But Kathy, and you'd never know it by looking at her, but Kathy has been involved with animal rescue and mainly cats for almost 40 years. Kathy and I got to know each other. Yeah, when I was practicing and she was a client, and we've gotten to be friends. And let me tell you, this is a person that saw a need for something and did something about it. Mm-hmm. When we're going to ask her, so many things today, like what if your cat is lost, what do I do? What is TNR? Kathy is a no-kill facility where she has a little cat house, we'll call it, in the backyard where unadoptables live. Or those that have chronic illnesses. In other words, cats that nobody wants, but they're in like a living room atmosphere. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So Kathy Deptola are so happy and honored to have you with us today.
I'm picturing a lot of cat tree house things. You know, those adventure things?
There are. I've got some, we have like, between the 2 rooms, we had small windows cut out, and then there were some logs on the property. So I put those logs through the windows onto like a bookcase so that the cats can climb across the logs up toward the ceiling, because cats like levels, you know. Yes. So yeah, just try to make it as fun for them as possible.
And you have to enrich their environment. They can't just be sitting there looking at 4 walls all day, you know?
Right.
The other thing, so Kathy, when someone's cat is missing, what is the first thing? Give us some tips on, because this is what you're doing. I mean, I've emailed you and you were in the middle of trying to trap a feral cat that was hanging around someone's house. So what are some tips on if your cat is missing? What do you do first?
First thing, post on like Nextdoor, make the community aware, make your neighbors aware. You know, you need a sighting in order to set a trap if it's a cat that's not going to come to you. And the longer they're out there, the more feral they become, because they are outside. And so you need a sighting. Different things you could do. It depends upon the cat. I've done things like if there's another cat in the household, I put the companion cat in a carrier so that it meows and carries on outside. That's how I was able to get a mom cat and her kittens. Once I had a couple of the kittens, I put the kittens in a carrier, and then they were crying, and then mom came, and I was able to trap her. Um, People suggest like putting an article of your clothing outside,
Yeah.
because it's a familiar scent, and they'll want to hang around the house. In my experience, both with dogs and cats, the first about month, they stay within a 2-mile parameter of where they were lost. And then after that, it becomes a little more challenging if you don't get them.
Why do you think it becomes territorial with other cats fighting with them and it drives them away, or?
No, it could be if there are other cats in that situation. I just took in a cat, Smokey, where that was the situation. But I just think they're looking for food, for warmth,
Mm.
safety. So they're going to wander. Are they spayed or neutered? If they're not fixed, they're going to wander even more. A whole bunch of different things factor into that.
I have a special question that pertains to my sister Janet. What do you
Uh-oh.
do for cats
Uh-oh.
that are up a tree?
There's this, well, I'm not going to climb a tree, but I do have saved on my phone. There's this fella, Treetop Cat Rescue. And he's awesome. He goes and he rescues all these cats that are stuck up in trees. He's
I
amazing.
think I've seen that. Is he in
Yeah,
Northeast Ohio?
it's been on, yes, it's been on Facebook. Yeah.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
We
that's,
don't have that here.
or I don't know, you can always try like the fire department too, but there's only so high I can go up a tree, with
Wow.
I'm
Well,
not afraid
you
of
know,
heights, but I guess I
going
am once it gets a little higher than I'm comfortable with.
going back to the lost cats, Alice, there's something you told me a long time ago. If your dog or cat is lost, tell the mailman
Oh,
or the mail
mailman
Oh,
or
carrier, whatever they're
UPS
called,
man. Yes, mail carrier.
because they know the neighborhood. They do the same thing every day, and I always thought that was a really good tip.
Yeah.
But Kathy, how did you get into this cat rescue? Like, tell us your story.
well, going back almost 40 years, I'm aging myself. I started out,
Both of us, Kathy.
yeah, exactly. Isn't it scary? I was thinking like, oh my gosh, almost 4 decades. Um, I started out with the local humane society, um, volunteering out there, doing different things, and then we separated ways. They had a different philosophy than me. I truly believe in the no-kill philosophy.
Yes,
So I
yes.
just started doing this on my own. And first half of my life, I did dog rescue, as Alice knows,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I still do dog rescue work, but mostly cats at this stage in my life. But I mean, I just rescued a dog 6 months, not even 6 months ago, from a situation out in Orwell. So yeah,
Oh,
that's how it all
yes, the 12
started. And
cats.
yes, 12 cats, one dog, and so when I was with the local humane society, I photographed their animals. I advertised them in the papers for free. I convinced the papers that people like to read your paper because they like to look at the pictures of the animals, and it's true. I mean, I get called all the time saying,
Yeah.
why isn't there an ad in the paper this week? What's going on?" And so it's good for the papers too. It's good PR for them, good publicity. Um, and I would do everything from feeding, cleaning, medicating, walking dogs. So
Wow.
when I just started doing that on my own then, and then from there I became a 501c3 nonprofit, and the years fly by, and people get to know you or know me and what I do, and it's just grown from there.
And you're still working full time, aren't you?
I am.
Yes, I can't
Yeah,
imagine you're doing this
Oh
and
my
like up at
gosh.
2
yeah,
a.m. trapping feral cats. I mean, that's incredible.
yeah. I mean, granted, with age, as we age gracefully, things are getting a little more difficult. And I always said, "Oh, I got to slow down or not do this anymore." But then that never happens because I'm getting some call about some animal that needs help, and of course I'm going to help them. I mean, I've helped dogs, cats. There's a horse, rabbits, ducks, a rat, a baby rat.
So Kathy, there's I'm assuming there's an adoption process.
There is
So
my
how does
adoption.
that work if one of
Well,
our listeners is
it
interested in?
starts with a conversation on the phone. I've
Mhm.
been doing this long enough that I get a feel for that person that I'm speaking to and what I'm looking for. I only adopt out cats to indoor homes. There's no right or wrong, but just over my years of doing this, they're just healthier and they live longer when kept inside. And if you're on Facebook and you look online or even at Nextdoor, all the ads, lost pets, it's dogs and cats,
Yes.
but especially cats, and coyotes are everywhere. And if I had a dollar for every person who said, "Oh, my cat never left the yard," they do, because cats will be cats. That's what they do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
it's just not safe for them. And I get them after they've been hit by a car or after something's chewed them apart or after they're so infested with fleas that they die because they're anemic. There's, I don't think there's any really outdoor situation where they're 100% safe. And maybe I'm a little overcautious,
Are
but
many
that's
of
okay.
them, are many of them microchip, Kathy, that you take in?
I don't do microchipping just because of financial reasons, but
No, no,
everybody,
but the ones that you
oh,
find are,
I always
because
have
I
them
don't,
scanned for a microchip to
yeah,
see
I
if
don't
there's
think a
an
lot of
owner.
people chip their cats. Yeah.
Can I ask a question about that, Alice, as a doctor, as a vet? How do you know where the microchip is?
They migrate. I've had one that
Yeah, but
migrated
they
down
scan
the
over
leg,
their whole body.
the whole
Oh,
body.
it's like a wand thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
it's a
had no
wand.
idea how that
Yeah,
worked.
Like at the
yeah,
airport, spread them.
right.
Oh, hold.
Don't breathe. Right.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. It's sort of like that. Yeah.
Oh, I had no, it moved. I had no idea.
But I
So
just
then
was
that
under the impression a lot of cats weren't microchipped. So when you do scan them, like what's the percentage you find that maybe have a chip?
very few,
Yeah, I figured.
very
Oh,
few.
wow.
Yeah, very
See, when I
few.
adopted our cats, I went through Pitter Patter Pet Rescue in Stamford, Connecticut. I know the
Mhm.
name. I have to think about it when I say it. It's like Peter Piper picked a pet.
Yeah.
So they insisted that we had them microchipped. And so they're signed up at one site and then the dog is on a different site.
Yeah. Well, they all
Yeah.
have kind of their own sites. Yeah.
I just like to back up 1 second with the adoption process. After the conversation, and once everything sounds good, I look for two main things: indoor home, and I don't believe in declawing cats. Um,
Me neither.
Amen.
yeah. And then after that, there's a meet and greet. I If they have other animals, I like to go to their home so that I can see how everybody gets along. Okay. And if all goes well, then there's an adoption contract that has to be signed. And that adoption contract it's pretty strict, but I've had to do that to deter people who are thinking about not being honest with me. And there have been a few over the years. But it just basically says that you're adopting this animal that's going to be an indoor pet. And if for any reason down the road you cannot keep this pet, dog or cat, then they have to contact me to see if adoption assistance is available because I will take them back.
Does it
Um,
happen often?
What else?
no, not real often. I think because I do screens so strictly, so
Yeah.
it doesn't happen really that often. I have a situation right now where I adopted a cat about 7 months ago to a wonderful person. And I only had Eddie maybe a month and a half before I adopted him. And he's been living with this person the last 7 months, like I said, but almost from two weeks that she had him, he started biting her. And we're talking breaks in skin. He would just, for no reason, bite. And she held on to him for so long, and I was giving her advice, different suggestions, trying to understand why the bites were occurring. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to the bites. And because she loved him, she held on to him all this time. But I did have to pick him up last weekend and brought him back, and he's so depressed. But so is his mom. She's very depressed because she wants him back. But we have to figure out why he's biting. And I had him to the vet, and it wasn't a pain issue. It's really it's something she feels psychological with him. So I'm trying Kitty Prozac with him. I started him on that this morning. When he was with me, and even 7 months ago, and even now, he's never tried to bite me. So I don't really understand what's going on here. But I'm going to figure it out because even if it doesn't work with his mom,
It's like
he
a
will live with
personality
me.
thing.
Hmm.
You know,
Yes.
like two people don't get along. Maybe it's just the cat doesn't like her.
Somebody else said that to me also, but she had her friend over a couple of weeks ago, and Eddie was like, weaving in between her legs and happy to see her. And then her friend sat on the sofa, and Eddie hopped up on the sofa next to her, and then he just bit her.
Wow.
So
Oh.
It
yeah, it's
sounds like
very
an episode of The Dog Whisperer when the Chihuahua would bite everyone that came and sat next to the woman on the couch.
I don't know. I
Oh,
mean, my vet feels it's something, it's redirected aggression. But I'm like, but they're
yes.
not doing anything to redirect the
Right.
aggression. She says it doesn't matter,
Right.
So we're
That's a
working
good
through this
point.
with Eddie. I keep telling Eddie, hang in there. We're gonna figure this out, and if we don't, he will live in my cat building, in my cat house.
So, Kathy, tell us about TNR. Explain what TNR is, because I don't know that a lot of people know about it.
What is TNR?
Trap, neuter, return.
Yes.
That's
Oh.
yeah. Basically, I've been doing that for over 20 years at this Chardon location. Somebody used to do it before me, and we bumped into each other one day, and she's like, "Hey, you want to take over this?" So I was working a part-time job in addition to my full-time job at this location. So there were some shelters staggered in a wooded area, and whenever I noticed anybody new, I would set a trap. I would catch them and take them someplace to get them spayed or neutered, and a rabies and a vaccine. But I'm not good at returning or releasing ladies. Because I realize their life expectancy, there's just too many predators out there for them. So
Yeah.
usually most of the cats I catch are adoptable and friendly. But for those that aren't, I have put them in my cat building because they
Yeah.
just, yeah.
As a veterinary dermatologist, I can tell you that the chronically affected allergic pet condition, also known as atopic dermatitis, is rarely ever cured, but it can be effectively managed. Command Deep Cleansing Shampoo from Vetramax is a top veterinarian prescribed treatment for skin problems resulting from chronic itch, pyoderma, and allergic dermatitis.
I like to use what my veterinarian tells me to use, which is Command Shampoo by Vetramax. It's super gentle on the skin and tough on that nasty unwanted bacteria. Libby smells great, she looks great, and she loves it.
Vetramax makes practicing veterinary medicine better by giving doctors high-performing, high-value, evidence-based products. Now, with Command Shampoo, you can bring that same quality into your regular home routine. Go to Chewy.com and enter promo code COMMAND15 to save 15% off on Vetramax Command Deep Cleansing Shampoo. That's code COMMAND15 at Chewy.com for 15% off. Vetramax makes it better. Hey everyone, don't forget to pick up Country Critter Journal if you live in Northeast Ohio. It's a must-read for all pet lovers. Their goal is similar to ours here at the podcast, to educate the community on taking care of pets. They're advocates for adopting from shelters, not puppy mills, and they connect our local communities with goods, services, kennels, and those seeking to adopt a pet. They're a hometown paper with a personal touch. A must-read for all pet lovers, Country Critter Journal.
How many cats are in that cat building? It's like a condo.
I think I have about 16 right now, and everybody is spayed and neutered. They're blood tested for leukemia and FIV. The first year, everybody gets their rabies and their vaccines and wormed. Yeah, and anybody new coming in, it's not like you just turn them loose. It's a process. They have to be confined,
Right.
and I put them in a big dog crate initially because the existing cats have got to get used that there's
Oh.
somebody new coming in. And then the new cat, I don't know anything about. I don't know if they're friendly with other cats. So and I've been doing this long enough that I can tell when it's okay to finally open the door and let everybody get along.
So when
Yeah,
you walk into that cat house, do they all like come running? Kathy, I'm so excited to see you. Like, what happened?
they do. Not everybody, because not all of them.
Oh.
Some are feral. Um,
Yeah.
some are
Yeah.
feral, but that's okay. I don't need a lap cat. I just knowing that they're safe and loved.
Yeah.
I'm really okay with that. Um, they're warm now in the winter. They have heat. In the summer they have air conditioning. It's very small, very modest, nothing fancy, but it's a home. and for cats that probably no one else would want. I have one right now. She's a Siamese mix-color mama cat because she ran around the Chardon area for years, producing lots of litters of kittens. And someone told me about her one day, and I trapped her, and she still won't let me touch her, but she's letting me get closer. But
Oh,
she's work in process because she's got stomatitis real bad in her mouth, which is like
oh,
canker sores in your mouth, and
Oh,
so I have to have her on antibiotics, which I can't pill her, or I have to have her on prednisolone liquid, and I can't medicate her orally with that.
right.
So I judge how bad her stomatitis is based on how much she's drooling. And when I
Mm,
see it's starting to get
wow.
bad, then I know to put those meds in canned food and monitor her. There's just and even some of the cats I have that have stomatitis that are friendly. Um, or they're older and they have this condition, it's something you have to really stay on top of and be committed to. Because if you don't,
mhm.
then the animals will suffer. So it's
You
really
know, and
how
we
attached
really,
am I? Can I let
that
them go? Do I want to let them go?
yeah,
You know, there's a lot of things
it's
that
so
factor into
painful.
that.
Oh, so sad.
It's very, very
So
painful.
is there an adoption fee? Because I know you're a nonprofit and
Yes,
fundraising is super
Oh,
important.
yeah,
yes.
just the food
Adoption
alone, I
fee
can't
for
even imagine.
Yeah, adoption fee for kittens are $150, and you get copies of all the vet records. Adult cats are $100. If you adopt a pair, the second one is half the price. Um,
Okay, Kathy, I'm telling you right now, you could up that price. I think when I adopted our kittens, I think it was
This is
300 a
Cleveland,
kitten.
Janet. You're in Darien, Connecticut.
I know, but I just think you could get more. But anyway,
yeah.
as your business manager,
Trust me, I know. This situation the oral rescue earlier this summer. I mean, I got a call from this woman who
Yeah.
was desperate. She had all these cats and they were starving. She didn't have any
Oh,
money to
oh my
feed them.
God.
She's tossing out scrambled eggs out into the lawn for the cats to
mm,
eat. And so I think, okay, she's like 10 minutes down the road from where I live. I'm just going to take out a whole bunch of food. Well,
mhm.
if you watch that video of the oral rescue, once I got there, I realized it was a much bigger issue than a food issue.
Oh,
Um, and I left with two of those cats that day because they would have died if I had not.
Oh
Um,
oh,
my God.
the one little girl, Lily, she's the all white kitten. Her paw was 3 times the size that it should be.
oh,
She had a bite wound in her leg that was left untreated. And then
mm,
Freddie, when you picked him up, his stomach had half a dozen bite wounds that were all infected. She
Oh
thought
my
he got into a tangle with the raccoon. And again, the infection would have killed these guys. So I left with those two. So yeah, upping the adoption fees probably would be a good idea because their vet bills together were it was over three
mm.
thousand dollars because it
Do you
was
get, does any of the pet food companies help you out or no?
no, no. I mean, I
Mm.
haven't looked into that, but good idea.
Janet,
Um,
we will look into that for you.
okay, I do have
I'm
my
writing
friend
it down
Jan.
right
My
now.
Okay, thank you. My friend Jan is so sweet. She volunteers at a pet food pantry, and so once a month
Hmm.
she delivers all this food to me, which I'm so thankful for. But um,
Oh my God.
with the number of cats I'm caring for, it goes pretty quick. Not everybody gets canned food every day either. I'm like, okay, you guys in my house, you get it on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays
Yeah.
once a day. So, got to split it up. You guys from Orwell, well, we got to fatten you guys up, so you're going to get it twice a day for a while, and then the ones that are sick, that I could hide medicine in, they get it twice a day, just, and then of course everybody gets the dry food. That's
What about like
not
your
all the
flea
time.
medicine? Are the vets giving you a break on that? I hope.
Um, My vet is very kind and does, I can't say enough good things about Dr. Carrie Ann McKinney and the Burton
Hmm.
BCA
Hmm.
group out there. They're
Yes.
very kind. I do get a discount on
Good.
the rescue animals. And with any new pet, there's a free dose of Revolution. So
Oh,
that's nice.
good.
I mean,
Good.
Oh
Revolution is
wow.
like the best one to have. I mean, I've
Yeah.
used the Advantage and the Frontline too, but the Revolution
Yeah.
treats a lot more things, as you know,
Yeah.
Alice.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then the local pet stores, Pet Supplies Plus in Chardon,
Oh,
they constantly, I have a donation bin there, and they're constantly doing different fundraisers, and people can donate cat food or cat litter or toys or whatever.
oh, that's
And the same thing
wonderful.
with Centera in Chardon. They're a specialty gift
Hmm.
and pet food supply store, and I also have a donation bin there. So,
So how many cats or kittens are adopted out like a year
oh my
from
gosh.
you?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's a tough call because every year is different.
Sure.
Some years I'll have a lot of litters of kittens,
Yeah.
so it'll be a lot of adoptions. And then I have a handful of foster people that they'll be fostering kittens, or sometimes,
Mhm.
and I often will help people, although I can't take in the kittens or the cats. I'll do courtesy posts for them, so
Oh, that's
they're
good.
not
Oh,
all they're not
nice.
all run through my rescue. So
Yeah.
um, it's really hard to define that.
Give a number.
It
Yeah.
could
It
be, yeah,
varies.
it could be as low
Yeah.
as 20 or as high as 50 a year. It just
Wow.
it
Mhm.
just depends because, like I said, not everything runs directly through my rescue either. Like I was just helping somebody last week. There was a house fire, and the animals in the house perished along with the owner. But
Oh
there's
my
a mom
God.
cat and kittens that were in the garage that were out on the property now, and a friend who knew the woman who passed away, her daughter. We were looking for the kittens, so she's fostering them right now, and
Mm.
I'm going to help her find homes for them, if they're friendly, which she's working on with them because they're older kittens.
I bet the
So
police
again,
call you a lot, too, like when they see animal abuse and things like that, because where are they
well,
going to take?
well, they should go to humane cases should go through Rescue Village to their humane officer.
Right.
That's how that should
Hmm.
be handled.
Yeah.
I have gotten the calls over the years if they're not able to get a hold of somebody out there.
Hmm.
And the Geauga Dog Shelter um, handles specifically dogs. So strays go to the dog shelter, and owner animals go through the Humane Society.
Now, are you okay? Well, I will tell you, Alice recommended that we adopt two at a time, two kittens at a time, and it's the best advice,
Absolutely.
honestly, Kat.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
much fun. I mean, those kittens together are just the cutest things ever. They roll, it's just hysterical, right?
Yeah.
We would find
Yes,
ourselves just watching the kittens all day. So, are you okay with people adopting multiples?
absolutely. Who
Okay,
am I to
good.
judge? No,
Yeah,
no.
I know.
Okay. Here's why. A couple different things. Two are great company. I tell people most people have to
Yeah,
work during the day, or if you're on vacation, they have each other for company.
yeah,
If you only get one, and then you decide 3 months down the road, oh, it needs a buddy. Well, then you have to go through that adjustment process because
yeah.
the existing cat doesn't know the new one, and it's not
Right.
always a real smooth transition. So
Mm.
I'm a big fan of adopting in pairs, and I've adopted actually two groups of trios actually
Oh,
over the
Really?
years. Yeah. Well, I remember one time people were looking at the kittens, and I had three, and they picked the two. They went this one and
Oh.
that one, and I said, well, what about this one? And they
Oh.
looked at me and I said, no charge for the third if you keep all
Oh.
siblings together. Yeah, I'm a good
buy two, get
salesman.
one free.
Right. Yes, yeah.
Because
I'm
it's
a
interesting, we had two girls siblings,
mhm,
and they never got along. But
okay.
now we have a boy and a girl that are siblings, and they watch out for each other.
Yeah.
They look for each other. It's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
I think it just depends on the cat or the dog. People will say,
Mm,
oh, males are better than females, or girls are
Right.
friendlier than males.
yeah,
And, you know, I, I've got a cat to prove that's every scenario wrong. I mean, it just depends upon the personality and what their upbringing was, who their parents
yeah.
were. Um, yeah, just depends.
But
Hmm.
I have to say, boy versus girl cats, I've seen more boy cats dressed up in pajamas with little kids carrying them around than I've seen girl cats dressed up in pajamas being carried around by little kids. Like big gold
Yeah,
cats, they're being held.
Yeah,
Well,
I
and the
think that's
difference with
true.
ours is the first two came from a family that their cat, who was only 9 months old, Rachel, had a litter. And so those kittens were raised with a dog that was a Westie that was carrying them all around the house. I
Oh,
mean, it
how
was the cutest
cute.
thing. So those two cats, when they grew up, had no fear of dogs. They
Right.
were like
Right.
super confident. And the two we have now they came from a feral cat, and they're much more aloof. Like the male cat will have nothing to do with me. They're not cuddlers. They'll cuddle with my sons and my husband, not me. It's just so interesting. I think the difference is really on how they were brought into the world.
There's some truth to that. As
Yeah.
far as like what's in the blood work as far as the level of feralness, but I think an even
Um,
greater reason for that is the younger you get them, the better. The younger you get them
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
to trap them, to socialize them, the friendlier they are. Um,
I agree.
yeah, I mean, you know, when you get past 7, 8 weeks, it gets tough, and which is why
Yeah.
I wound up keeping a few that I had trapped in the Chardon area a couple years ago because just I got them maybe they were about 9 weeks old, and just no matter what I tried, no matter how long I held them, they would hiss and hiss and hiss and try to
See,
bite and the one came around faster than the other two, but I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
split them up
yeah.
and now, a year and a half later, they're all fine. But somebody comes into my
Really?
home. Yeah. Now somebody, yeah, the one just likes to sleep with me. The other one likes to just check out the whole house. He isn't afraid. But then the third one, who was the shyest, he's still a little shy, but I can pet him now, and he doesn't run away, and nobody hisses. But somebody comes over, everybody hides.
Yeah.
You know,
Under
you
the
open
bed.
up the bottom kitchen
Now,
cabinet,
Kathy,
and they all scurry in there.
what's your advice for people who are adopting kittens or
Yes.
cats? Like,
Yes.
what
Like
should they do in their home? How should they
acclimating them.
welcome them into their home?
Yeah.
What if they have a dog? What if they have
Right.
little kids? Like, what's your advice for
Um,
success?
Small area first, preferably in an
Mm,
area where you have a litter box.
yeah,
Place the food and water bowl in close proximity to the litter box temporarily because you
Okay.
want
wow,
to have good litter box habits from the start.
yeah, that's
Once they
true.
know where the litter box is and they've used it, then put the food and water wherever you want. Um, Something really important about my rescue too is what makes us unique is fostering out of our homes. Because we foster out of our homes, we get to learn about their likes and dislikes and their fears. I also have two dogs, so I
Mm-hmm.
get to find out right away if they're dog friendly or not, or how long it takes them to become dog friendly. You know, if they're cat friendly, yeah, are they afraid of the vacuum? Do they like stairs? Just different things, you know.
Hey, did you know that Blue Buffalo makes prescription diets that are formulated by animal nutritionists and veterinarians? And they're used for dietary needs such as kidney support, gastrointestinal support, weight management, and our favorite, allergy and skin problems.
They make a food allergic diet that's an alligator based called NP or a hydrolyzed salmon based for dogs and cats called HF.
So please ask your veterinarian about Blue Buffalo prescription diets.
I get so many questions from pet parents about what is safe and effective to use when cleaning their pet's ears. Dermazoo's Glycozoo Odic is great to use as a maintenance cleaner to keep the ears smooth and healthy. Glycozoo Odic solution has boric acid, which is antibacterial and anti-yeast, glycolic acid, which keeps the skin smooth and supple, and ceramide for routine ear cleaning with a solution that's safe, effective, and repairs skin cells. Ask your veterinarian about Dermazoo's Glycozoo Odic. Let's keep those ears healthy and infection-free. You were mentioning about how you had, when you're bringing a new one into the cat house, that you keep them in a cage first.
Yeah.
A
Should
big
do you
dog crate,
think
yes.
that's your crate? I'm sorry. Do you agree with that? Say I have a dog and one cat, and I want to adopt another cat. That's a good idea because then they can come and sniff this new cat, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's what a family did that adopted the kitty Susie Q from me. They set her up, yeah, they set her up in a crate in their living room because they had 3 dogs at the time. And she didn't like my dogs at first when she came to my place, but she got used to them and she was fine. So that's how I knew she would be okay with their dogs eventually. And now she sleeps with the dogs. So yeah, the crate is a good tool. Crate is a really good tool.
I think so too. Yeah.
You know, it keeps
So
everybody
Kathy,
safe.
Oh,
yeah,
You
at
know,
a
absolutely.
distance, right? Yeah. So Kathy, what's the most rewarding thing about your work?
Oh,
I think the
everything.
most rewarding thing about my work, I think 2 things. One, when they find that perfect home where someone's going to love them and take care of them forever, like I would. And
Yeah.
the other rewarding thing is when I get an animal or cat from a bad situation, and I know I'm making a difference because I saved them, whether I saved
Yeah.
them from a horrible life or I saved them
Mm.
from a medical issue.
Yeah.
The dog I took in from Orwell, um, the owner was a senior woman who her sister had passed away and lived next door. Her house, no, she got hit by a car and her sister died. And the house was in horrible, deplorable condition, so they bulldozed it down. And the cats that were living in that house just came over to the surviving sister's property. All the
Wow.
cats were infested with fleas horribly, as were the 2 dogs. She had 2 dogs. And when the first time I went there to take her the food, we went out to her barn, and I heard the dogs barking. And I looked in the stall, and the one dog's name is Blue, an Australian Shepherd, pretty dog, and he was running. He's loose in the stall, just running around, you know, wanting to be patted. And I looked in the other stall. I saw this Shepherd mixed dog, and she wasn't running around loose in the stall. She was tied to the wall with a 4-foot leash. And I
Mm.
looked at this woman and I said, why is she tied? She said, because that dog jumps on that stall door. And when I try to get on my horses, I'm not going to get bucked off my horse because it's startling my horse. And I said,
Oh.
you can't leave that dog tied. She can't even reach her food and water bowl. Yes, she can.
Oh my
I said, she could
Oh,
hang
God.
herself. She says, she's fine. I hate that dog. I started to open the stall door and she said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm untying that dog. And I said, and I advise you when I leave here today that you do not tie her back up. And I went in and she says, well, you'll see what she's like. I went in, I approached the dog, I unhooked the leash. She sat there, looked at me, and I just petted her. And her name was Sally. And she got her freedom ride in my car a few weeks later. Um, yeah,
Oh.
a friend of mine, I had pictures and I sent them to different people. And she said, I have a friend that wants to adopt Sally. And Sally is living a life of Riley right now, getting lots of
thank God.
walks and love. She got spayed. She's an indoor dog. And so that's, you know, what's rewarding to me. That's rewarding, seeing the life she
Right.
could have had
Yeah.
for who knows how long. I don't know how long she was tied like
Right.
that, you know. She would let her
Right.
out to run, you know, once in a while, but that's not a
Wow.
life. And there's
And I
so
bet she
you think
wasn't
about it.
paid either.
No, she
Yeah.
was not, which is why she kept her in the stall too, but that's not a life.
Oh, right.
You know, let's get her
Yeah.
spayed, you know, and
So Kathy, I'm going to ask you the question that we ask all of our guests.
Oh,
What is your pet peeve? It can be about humans or animals.
pet peeve we'll start with the humans.
She's got a list.
I was gonna say it's a long list. I'm trying to
yeah.
prioritize. Pet peeve with humans. I think not giving an animal enough time
Mm.
to adjust in a new situation. I mean, that's why I really am strict about screening people and talking to people,
Yes.
finding out what their past history was, um,
Right.
and just, you know, throwing in the towel too soon. A large
Mm.
part of my job is educating people.
Yeah.
Um, so, and that's fine. I mean, somebody's got to do it. And like a lot of people will be like, oh, I didn't know that. And to me, I'm like, well, how could you not know that? But then I have to take a step back and think, Kathy, you've been doing this a long time. You know, not everybody's going to know what you know or what you've gone through. And
Yeah.
so education is very important. Pet peeve with
Mhm.
animals. Well, when you have multiple cats, there's always behavioral issues, which is why I have things set up where I cannot have everybody free roaming at the same time. Like I have a on my door to I have a door on my my living room. Like I have a French door, so I've got different maybe half a dozen cats in there that are in there full time, but some can come and go. Others choose not to. Like I have one with, help me, Alice, it's called cerebral hypoplasia. Am I saying that
Hypoplasia.
right? Yeah.
And it walks
Um,
like this. Yeah.
it's like a drunken sailor, yeah.
Yeah.
And can fall over easily if startled.
It's actually
So
cerebellar hypoplasia.
that's it.
Cerebellar.
I knew it.
That's it.
Thank you. I knew I was saying it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got her as a kitten, and so to turn her loose in a house, there's too many things. Stairs would be a problem for her. So anyway, so behavioral issues, not everybody getting along, personalities. But that's, it's part of rescue though too, I mean, you'd think they would get used to this by now. Cats come and go, right? So I always say, everybody get along. You seem to forget where you came from and how you started. I'll be talking to
Yeah.
them. I'm like, oh, stop that. So yeah,
I don't know how
personalities.
I don't know how you hold your tongue when you see so much bad like that. I know you can't tell the people off because then they won't call
Oh,
you back if
sometimes I
there's
do.
good. Good. I'm
Sometimes
glad
I
to
do,
hear
but
it.
Confessing your
yeah.
sins now.
Someone used to tell me years ago, Betty Nenadel, do you remember her, Alice? She was the old
Yes, I
humane
do.
officer for Geauga
Yes.
Humane. Yeah, we were friends, and she trained me and taught me a lot. She used to always say, always keep your eye on the animal. Because, if you make someone angry and then you lose communication with them, then you can't
That's
help.
Yeah.
true.
So
That's
even though this woman in Orwell, I want to put this. I got really angry at her one day because when I went out there to get a couple cats, she said the kittens are dying, and I'm like, what kittens? And she says they were in the barn. We finally found the kittens. Well, there were 3 kittens. She had them in a basket, and they were so full of fleas. I was just like, oh my God, they're never going to make it. So I said, get me a pail of water, get me some Dawn soap. And I sat there on the ground, dunking these guys, rubbing the Dawn on them, trying to get the fleas off. The one died right there. The other 2 were still breathing, and there was just hundreds, I'm not kidding, hundreds of fleas. And
Oh
this
my God.
woman looked at me and she said, why are you messing with those kittens? You're supposed to be here to get these 2 cats out of here today. I just said all I could do, not to go over there and smack her, But I looked at her friend and I said, you need to get her under control before I lose it, because if I don't help these kittens, they're going to
good.
die.
Oh,
So she went over there and I saw her whispering with her. And so, yeah, it's very hard for me to bite my tongue, but um, sometimes, you have to in order to do good
yeah.
by the animal.
I have
And
a
then there's
crazy
other
question.
times where I'm just like, I'm Irish and it just spews out, like I get the phone call. Hi, I need to get rid of my cat. Well, why do you have to get rid
Oh,
of your cat? Well, we just had a baby and it's
Oh,
just too much. We just can't deal with this cat right now. And it likes to climb in the crib with the baby and I said, yeah, it's not going to hurt the baby. And she says, I'm just stressed. And I could hear kids crying in the background. I said, "Oh, I hear the kids now." And um, how many do you have, and what their ages? And she would tell me, and she's like, plus we're going to be moving, and it's just we just can't deal with this. And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I said, "Well, are you taking them with you too?" She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "When you move, the kids." And she was, yeah.
yeah.
So sometimes
You don't think
it
the
comes
problem
out.
was the cat?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a
I just
question.
feel
If those,
pets are a lifetime commitment.
yeah.
if those pets are infested with fleas, isn't the human?
They were living
Probably.
in the barn, though, right, Kathy?
Yeah.
But
But
if you have
yeah,
that many fleas on your
yes.
pets, I would think the
Yeah, you
human
bring
would
them
have.
in.
I
Absolutely, you do.
I have not seen an infestation that bad in a while. And then, she has 2 horses too, and the horses were in great shape. The stalls were clean, the hoofs were good. Priorities, horses, dogs, cats.
Kathy, do you have an annual fundraiser? Or can people donate to your
Yeah, where do they go?
nonprofit?
What's your website?
My website is it was in progress. My friend has been working on it, and I'm really impressed with what she's done. We
I
sent
saw it.
that.
I think it's very nice.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
it's still a work in progress, but I've known Michaela, the web developers. We went to grade school together, so we have a long history. And she offered to volunteer to put a website together for me, which I was so thankful for. So there's going to be buttons on there, donate buttons, and all sorts of fun things
Good.
where people can donate, make it easy. A lot of people donate through PayPal to my rescue, the old-fashioned way, a check in the mail. As far as fundraisers, I haven't had any large fundraisers, probably in the last 3 or 4 years, but we do like gift basket raffles. Like I have one coming up next week. I've had a couple donations of gift baskets by my friend Lisa, so we'll be doing raffle tickets for that. Twice a year, I do a newsletter, and that will be going on the mail in a week. Our Christmas fundraising letter, which people can donate to via that too.
You know,
Which
Kathy, another venue to receive donations is Venmo, and their percentage is less than PayPal, even though they're owned by PayPal. They're one
Oh, are they? I
company.
didn't know that.
Venmo
Do you
is
know what?
super
I
cheap.
am set up with Venmo too.
Good, 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 because they just
Yeah.
started their charity division. It's great. And people
Okay.
love Venmo. Well, Kathy,
Janet,
this has been
I
amazing.
know. All the years I've
Wow.
known Kathy, and I've always thought the world of her, but there's so much information. And you're right, Kathy, it's all about education.
Hmm.
Pets aren't something they can be just taken care of on their own. They have to have our care. Yeah,
Well, and that's what the podcast is all about, because
right.
I'm the one, the pet owner that would be calling my sister the vet. Thank God she's a veterinarian, because I could call her and say, "Oh my God, there's worms in the poop. What do I do?"
No, but here's the best one though. What do you think this is? And I'm like, we have to put a needle in it and take some cells out to tell you what it is. I I can't tell. First of all, it's hard to tell by looking, and it's very hard to tell by a picture on a phone, believe it or not. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
know
Kathy,
what?
Alice was here once. She was here at our house, and something was on a dog or a cat, and
Oh
she goes, "Well, I
God.
need to culture it or whatever." And she goes, "Do you have a microscope?" And I'm like, "We had like, the
A
mini
little
one that
kid
kids have,
microscope.
like this big." Well, do you have fixative or whatever it is? I'm like, "What the hell is? Do you have slides?" And I was,
Anyway.
I get that all the time. People will send me pictures and say,
Yes.
What is this on my dog or what is this on my cat?" And I'm just like, oh my God. I always say, I
You
am
know,
not a
it's
veterinarian.
really
I mean,
hard. You've got to see
it,
it in 3D. It's hard to tell just
you
from a
do,
picture.
you do.
Yeah.
But I laugh because the first time I ever went to see you, Alice, with
Yeah.
cats or whoever, dogs, you would know just by looking at them because you're
yeah,
so good at what you do, you would know what was wrong. But you would follow
Well,
through with, of
I'm
course,
a
the
I'm
necessary
a very
testing.
right. I'm a visual person, which is why I like dermatology
hmm,
because you really even with people, I'll look and I'll say that person's limping on that right right front.
Mm,
Okay, right,
yeah.
right leg. That's right. People have two legs. But I am. And I think that's why I migrated to derm because it's very
sure.
visual. It's one specialty where you still have to see the patient.
Yeah.
You can't just read the blood work and say what it is, you know?
Right,
Mm.
right. Yeah,
Anyway.
very true. Very true.
Well, Alice, we got to wrap this up.
Okay,
This is
Kathy, you
Kathy.
know I
Thank
love
you
you.
from all the cats and dogs that you rescue. Thank you for the amazing work you do.
Yeah.
It's really something.
But for now, this is Dr. Alice Novotny Jeroman and
Janet Novotny King, the Cleveland Sisters from Cleveland, Ohio, saying thanks for listening. And don't forget to follow us, like us, share us, and get your friends on us. We love it. Thank you.
kiss your pets for us.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Bye.
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 Thanks for tuning in today. We hope you learned some valuable information about making decisions about your pet's health.
And don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe on podcasts because we love to have those likes. Thanks so much for listening.
That's actually really good. You could both go bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
How about woof woof?
This episode of Speaking of Pets podcast was sponsored by Blue Buffalo Veterinary Diets. Love them like family, feed them like family. And go to Chewy.com and enter promo code COMMAND15 to save 15% off on Vetramax Command Deep Cleansing Shampoo. That's code COMMAND15 at Chewy.com for 15% off. Vetramax makes it better.
Follow us on social at Speaking of Pets and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Speaking of Pets podcast is an SLA video production.